Right, so in 2026, how do you start a lead generation agency? First of all, it does take a lot of work. If you're not willing to put the work in, you're not going to get anywhere. It's as simple as that. Now, you can dedicate 2 to 4 hours every single day, but there has to be a level of consistency. If you miss that consistency, of course, just like with anything, the results are going to be poor. So, one of the main reasons why most people start agencies and they get it completely wrong is because you're copying gurus, right? And you're often thinking, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go broad when it comes to my target audience or my target market. And what happens is that you start to take on so many different clients, and over time, your entire system is very complicated. Now, in order to be able to scale and grow, you need one straight system, one linear system that you can, perfect over time, or almost perfect over time, so that it's just a matter of almost copy and pasting one thing for another client. And it's quite simple to grow, an agency that the what is it called, the work is quite straightforward for. So once again, you're just duplicating what you've done for other clients, duplicating the results, the systems that you have, and you can get results that way. Now, 90% of most beginners fail because, like I said, they're copying gurus, they're going into random niches, and they're often charging prices, ridiculous prices for their services. So I'm going to walk you through the entire step. Now, an agency isn't hard. Anyone can do it as long as you do some research, you learn everything yourself. So when it comes to delivering for your clients, you can execute at the highest level, at the highest standard. So don't be delusional that, oh, you can become a millionaire overnight. It really doesn't happen. I mean, look at every single other agency owner, right? It's taken them years to get to that stage. Of course, you can speed run it, but even then, you're not going to get hundreds of clients paying you, 10K a month or whatever within a year. It's just not going to work. It could work for some if you've got some experience, but most of the time, you're not going to get there. Now, who am I to be telling you all of these things? So I've spent hundreds of thousands of pounds myself when it comes to advertising. So specifically meta ads. I've tested what works and what doesn't work. So I've done all sorts of campaigns, from video ads to lead ads to awareness, whatever, right? So I know a thing or two when it comes to advertising on Meta. The other thing is, I've also been in the crypto space. I've generated millions when it comes to advertising for different brands. And I've grown my own Twitter page to about 25,000 followers. Stopped posting on there now, but I used to work for different businesses, brands, just helping them grow their social media and generate millions of dollars in return. I've also ran a successful e-commerce brand for over a year, generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. When it comes to the agency space, I've been in and out. So I started over 6 years ago, maybe a bit longer now. And I did have clients, but again, I drifted into the crypto space because it was a more lucrative, a new opportunity to get involved in. So did that for quite a while, and right now I'm currently building towards a multi six figure lead generation agency, just because I've got experience. I know what works and what doesn't work, and I think I can get there in not too long, hopefully. Now, I've also got a degree in marketing psychology, so that's just a background about myself. Psychology is very useful when it comes to marketing because you can understand what your potential lead or client is looking for, and you can twist the words to make sure that it hits them where it's supposed to. So we'll get into a lot of the details in this little video, and I hope I can provide a ton of value. So before I go ahead, just make sure to one, subscribe, because I am going to be dropping so much content over the next few months, and make sure to like and share this video. Next thing is, what is a lead generation agency? If you're unaware, a lead generation agency is quite simple. You're basically finding leads, whether if it's for yourself or for your clients that are interested in your service or product, and then you're delivering it to your business or your client's business, and in return, you get paid for providing them with the leads, which often convert into jobs if done correctly. Now, there's different models that you can run. There's retainer models, so every single month you charge a base fee. So that could be 1 to 3K. It could be higher as well, depending on the quality of your service. You've also got pay per lead. So every lead that you generate, you will take a cut from your client. You've also got pay per booked appointment. So every time you book an appointment, whether if it's medical, dentistry, whatever, you will take a fee per that booked appointment, because that booked appointment could be worth 10K to your client, right? So if you're able to take 10% of that job or the appointment, then you're going to be making a lot of money. For beginners, the best offer that I've found is pay after the job, because you need data, you need experience, right? If you don't have any testimonials or work you've done in the past, it's going to be extremely hard. So if you are starting out, I would go with a pay after the job, or for example, pay per lead model, which is a bit harder, but my personal favorite for beginners is pay after the job. So you do all the work, and then once you've got them a job, then you start talking to them about, hey, this is working, let's work together now. And then you can choose one of those models that I've just mentioned there. So hopefully that makes some sense, because for beginners, it's extremely hard to start growing a lead generation agency. This just speed runs it a little bit. So why is it so hard to start? It's hard if you don't have any skill, or you're maybe expecting a high return very fast. If you're going into this with the idea that you're going to get there within the next year, maybe it's 10K, that's your goal. You will have no problems as long as you learn along the way and learn from your mistakes. And know if you're willing to put the work in, or you work for free initially and then you start charging clients, that often works a lot better. And the other thing that I've noticed, that when beginners start, they think that going broad, let's just say home improvement, right? There's so many niches within home improvement. Let's say you're going broad and you're targeting every single one of them. That's why most agencies fail, because you need to become a specialist in one niche. And I'll explain why it's so important to do that, because if you're going broad, your skills are going to be all over the place. You're not really going to develop them. You might develop some when it comes to advertising or marketing, but you're not going to develop the skills for that specific niche and also get case studies built on that specific niche. So just hear me out, stick to one niche, test it out for a few weeks. If it doesn't work, then you can switch the niche. But that's very important. And yeah, let's just move on to the next one. So how do you pick the right niche? Because this is what's going to, I guess, let you know if that niche is good. It's also going to determine the success of your business. So you need to make sure that, one, it's a high ticket, because you are providing a service, and that service you're going to put in a lot of work. So for example, you need to make sure that they're making minimum 2 to 3K per job. Of course, you can go lower, but then your fees will be lower as well. There's also an urgent need for them. So what I mean by that is, they need leads in order for them to get jobs. If they don't have the leads, they're not going to be able to pay themselves, pay their team, and of course, pay the bills. And ideally, you want them to already be spending some money on ads, because they're the best clients. It doesn't have to be Facebook ads or anything like that. It could be, for example, Angie's List or Home Advisor. For the UK, it's Bark or Check a Trade. Maybe they've done that in the past. And hopefully, the client that you choose, or the niche that you choose, is quite easy to understand. And maybe you've got experience in the past. Maybe you've got family members that are in that specific industry. That just helps a ton, because you can pick their brain a little bit and get an understanding of what their offerings are and how you can help them personally. Of course, you don't need to, because all the information is out there. You can just do your own research and figure things out yourself along the way. But it's quite simple when it comes to local contractors and businesses. They need leads, and you can generate those leads. It's really simple. People overcomplicate the process, but it's just a matter of creating a few ads. First of all, getting on a call with them, creating a few ads, making those ads go live, and then just delivering on what you've promised to the clients. I've listed some examples there. Of course, you don't have to go with them. These are very competitive, but the reason why they're so competitive is because they work. So don't think that because they might be so saturated that they're not going to work. If it's working for other people, you can also crush it in these niches as well. What I would suggest is, you need to find your own perfect niche. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have home improvement. Within home improvement, you could have epoxy, for example. You could just go into that specific niche. All the businesses that work with epoxy, that could be a service that you advertise for them. So take your time, figure out the niche that you want to target, and then go after that one only. And if it doesn't work after a few weeks, then change. But there's a lot more to it than just picking the right niche. It's also about creating a strong offer. Now, this is the most important part of you getting clients, right? This goes back to marketing psychology. Now, for example, maybe you've been wanting to join a gym, for example, and they haven't ran any offers, so you're waiting for some sort of a crazy offer, right? You're not going to join when they're charging like £100 or $100 a week, right? maybe you'll join once they have like a 50% off offer, because that is a crazy offer, and it's a strong offer to get people in through the door. So you want to be doing the same thing, creating strong offers that you can get people in through the door so that you can sell them on your service, basically. For beginners, this is extremely important, because if you mess this up, that means you're not going to get anywhere. So I've seen people run some really bad offers. Like, we run ads for contractors. I've honestly seen those sorts of ads, and it might work, but the chances of that it works are very slim. So to make an offer good, you have to ensure that it's so good that they feel stupid saying no. So, for example, some of the offers that I've listed there, they're really good for beginners. So, working for free until you get the clients their first free job, or 30 leads in 60 days, or we work for free. Now, you can add a conditional offer in there as well. So, for example, we'll get you 30 leads in 60 days, or we'll work for free until you get the 30 leads, right? That's a conditional offer, because you're not going to lose money that way, but you're ensuring that you're covering yourself when it comes to performance. So really look into those offers, see what you think works best for you. But those are the best offers that I can suggest to you. Now, the idea behind a good offer is that you want to reduce their risk, right? Because at the end of the day, they're going to be taking a lot of risk trusting you, and you need to make sure that that uncertainty about whether this is going to work or not is completely removed. And that's why you have a really good offer, so that essentially you take all the risk initially when you're starting out, and you produce results for them first, and then they see those results, and then they'll start working with you long term. And I'm telling you, if you provide results first, they will stick with you for as long as you're providing good results. So that's what I would suggest. Now, the strongest offer that I could probably give you is, let's just say, for the remodeling industry, right? We book 20 plus remodeling appointments in 30 days, or you don't pay. And within the contract, you just say, or when you're on a call with them, or we'll work for free until we get you those 20 free jobs. That's just like a little caveat that you add to protect yourself, and to also ensure that the offer is still strong. So I hope you're getting a ton of value so far. Look, I've looked everywhere for these when I was starting out. No one was really willing to give you these offers. I'm doing it right in front of you. So test these out. If they work, let me know, and hopefully this shortcuts your progress to starting your own lead generation agency. Now, if you're a complete beginner, you don't know what software to use, there's two things that's all you need. One is the Go High Level software. So that includes your CRM, funnels, so websites, calendars, SMS, everything. And you'll use the same one for clients as well. So it's a central hub for everything that you do. And almost every single agency uses Go High Level. That's how good it is. If you are interested, go down below. Shameless plug, I know. Go down below. I do have an offer right now where I think you get 40% off for joining Go High Level under me, under my account. So that's a little bonus from my end. And of course, you do help me when producing these videos. Secondly, there is also second software, which is Meta. And that's where you'll be producing launching all the campaigns for not only yourself, but for your clients. You might not be doing it initially for yourself, because of course it does cost money, but definitely for your clients. These are the only two things that you need to really start a lead generation agency. It's really that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just follow what I'm saying in this video. Now, how do you deliver the service? So step one, you need to understand your competitors. Just like with any business, there's going to be competitors. So the best thing you can do is understand what they're offering, and maybe you can outperform them by offering something better, or maybe you just get some information from how they're advertising at the moment, and then you can just copy paste what they're doing. If they've been advertising for a long time, then you'll be able to see that it's working. No one's going to keep ads running if they're not working. And that's the best tool. It's called Meta Ads Library. I will do a video on how it works, so you guys can also start yourselves. And you can also get an idea for the offers that they're using, the hooks that they're using. And I'll also make a video about how to create meta campaigns, not only for yourself, but also for your clients. And it's not complicated. People think that, oh, I'm so scared of meta ads. I'm telling you, it's probably the easiest thing that you're going to work on. The hardest part is the sales, and the hardest part is sales and growing, as well as the offer. Everything else is really simple. Now, secondly, you need a simple structure. So for the images, you need before and after pictures from the clients that you work with. Clear offer, social proof, they go a long way. So like Google reviews, they really do help. And that's exactly what I do for my clients as well. I may or may not show some of my clients is because, of course, I don't want anyone else copying what I do. But over time, you figure things out once you look on Meta Ads Library and look at your competitors. You can funnel hack, so you can go into their funnels or their websites and see how they're running things. Thirdly, what I would suggest is on Facebook, there's something called instant forms. So instead of you taking them to a funnel, you do instant forms. You create instant forms. They're quite easy to set up and integrate with Go High Level. So when you set those up, you're going to get a high quantity of leads, but they're not going to be qualified. Well, most of them aren't, because some people just click on there, type their information, and that's it. When you become a little bit more advanced, you will start using funnels, which is what I use, and that's where you can filter people that are not interested in your service or they don't qualify for what you're offering. Step four: as soon as those leads come in, your job is to call them as soon as possible. If you don't, you're going to lose out on them. And I think the way that it goes is after about 5 minutes, the chances of you closing that person drops by like 60%. So call them the minute that they come in, and try to get them into a booked meeting. What I would suggest is when you are on the call, just let them know that it's best if they're on a computer or a laptop. Because that's the way you can explain everything clearly and they can see all the visuals, etc. When you do get on that call, this is just a little bonus. Make sure you have some sort of a presentation set up. It can be like 4 slides, which is what mine is, so that you can explain everything visually, your services. And I'll show you guys how that looks a little bit later as well in another video. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out a ton of content, so hopefully you can follow along this journey with me, and you also learn along the way. And maybe one day, I can meet some of you guys and see how you're doing. Next up, how to get clients. Now the truth is, if you have no results, you're a high risk. Your work isn't proven, so no one's going to go with you. That's why I suggest for beginners you work for free or work on a performance basis, because that way you're putting all the risk on yourself and not on the clients. Everyone's busy, but if you're sure that you can provide the results, then 100% focus on the solution, which is working for free. That's what I did when I was starting out, so I would highly recommend that you do that as well. And it just takes about a month or so, and then after that, it's quite simple. If someone is saying that, oh, but you haven't got any proof, you just show them the proof of previous clients, and that will keep them happy or satisfied to work with you. Your main goal within the first month or two is to get testimonials and case studies. And this is so important. If you have case studies and testimonials, it will make your life so much easier. So 100% recommend just working for free or having some ridiculous offer that I haven't even thought about. The other thing is you're also training yourself. So your first 1 to 3 clients, that's free training, and that's the best thing you can get. You'll make a lot of mistakes, trust me, but you'll learn along the way and improve your service delivery as well. So don't try to get rich in a month. Try to get proof. That's what I like to say. And there's different ways of getting paid from your clients. You can have retainer models plus ad spend. This is more advanced. And I think that's when you start growing, you'll start making more money that way. Just because if they're increasing their ad spend, your clients, you can make a portion of those ad spend. So it can be 10%, it can be 5%, whatever, right? You're going to be making money along the way. You don't just want to stick to the retainer model for the long run, just because over time you want to also scale your business, right? And that's the best way to do it. The other way is pay per appointment, which is a pretty good method, but again, you have to deliver your services. If you're not confident, it's not something you can do, then don't go with it. You can also do a hybrid model, so retainer plus ad spend, plus you could also throw in a pay per appointment. That's quite complicated, but of course you can do that. I like the retainer plus the lead model. So for every lead that you generate, you could be charging £50 or $50 or whatever you work out with your client. And of course, it's also dependent on how much they're making on average from each lead that you generate. So this is something you'll figure out over time, especially if you stick with one industry or one niche, like I told you, because you'll get a better understanding of how much each lead is worth. Now, talking about margins, if a contractor makes 15K from your leads, right, and you're charging 1.5K, that is extremely cheap, right? So what you need to make sure that your pricing matches what your clients are making, and that's why the pay per lead model is so powerful and such a great model. As you advance later on, initially start with the work for free. That's it, no questions asked. Here's something that I'm going to throw out there. Like I said, education is very important. The first thing that you should be doing is investing in yourself, right? So the best way you can do that is, I found, for if you are just getting into lead generation agencies, right, these two books go a long way. There's a few others from other agency owners that I found that are good, but for now, I think you need to get a better understanding of the industry. And the best one is the Alex Hormozy books, so the 100 million offers, and the leads as well. Those two are probably the best books that you're going to read, because they give you how to, deal with leads, how to create really good offers. Yeah, and make sure to read them twice. Don't skim, and take notes if possible. If you don't understand something, read it again. Read it until you properly understand it, because there is a ton of value in those books. Uh, so this is something that I see all the time, is picking the wrong niches. And I'm in different school communities and different other communities and YouTube, and I see the comments. And the biggest mistake beginners make, and that's why they struggle, is you go broad and you pick 5 different niches. It's just not going to work. Just stick to one. That's it. And make sure that you put 110% into making it work. If you test it after 3 weeks and it doesn't, then you move on, right? And don't change your offer every week. Test it out for a couple of weeks. If it doesn't work, then change it, right? Because it might not be, that offer that you have, it may be such a great offer, but the right person hasn't seen it yet. And you don't know that until you test it out, right? So whether if you're doing cold calls, or if you're doing SMS, or if you're doing email, whatever, Facebook advertising, you need to test out those offers. Yeah, don't charge too much too early. Like I said, take your time with it, learn the steps first, and then as you perfect your service delivery in that niche, then you can start charging higher. Avoiding sales calls. This is a pretty easy one. Sales calls are the best thing. I enjoy them so much, because you learn about your specific niche, your clients, what their pain points are, and how you can objection handle, and that's so important. Over time, you will build those sales skills, and you'll become a master at sales. When I started out, this was years ago, I couldn't even talk on the camera or anything, but you will develop those skills, and you will build confidence along the way as well. The other thing I would say, and I don't think I've touched upon it here, is cold calling. As a beginner, I know everyone says this, you need to be cold calling. So what you can do is scrape some leads. You can do it yourself if you're starting out. It's completely free. I'll make a video on it. Or you can go on Fiverr and pay about $15 to scrape tens of thousands of leads, and you'll have a list for it for the next few months. And you can just keep calling about 100 different leads every single day. On average, I book about 8 different meetings from cold calling, and it probably works better than advertising. But the best thing about advertising is that you can filter who comes in and who doesn't. Cold calling, you'll get a lot of rejections, a lot of people swearing at you, but at the end of the day, if it converts, it doesn't matter who says no, it's the people that say yes. So cold calling is one of the best things you can be doing. Right, this is just a quick summary before I wrap this video up. So what I would do if I was starting in 2026, pick one niche without a doubt. Study the ads library so you can understand your competitors, the offers they're running, the hooks that they're running, the types of content that they've made, might be video or image ads. Build a simple funnel. If you're a bit more advanced and you're ready to take the next step, build a simple funnel. It can just be a video of you talking with a few FAQs, and I can show you guys that on another video. At the minimum, you should be calling 30 businesses per day. That's at the minimum. The other thing is, offer a performance-only model. So, either you'll get them X amount of leads guaranteed, or you'll work for free until you get them X amount of jobs or whatever. And your goal is to close one free client, or I suggest 3, but 1 at the minimum to get a case study from them. And that will take you about a month. After that, you'll start printing. Get that client results and turn it into a case study. And once you've got a decent amount of experience, increase your prices to match what your contractors are making in that niche. I think that's pretty much it. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This is just the first video I'm going to be posting on the channel, but over time, the content is going to get a lot better. I'm going to be diving into everything. And I hope you guys learn along the journey with me, and you make some progress as well.